Hello everybody, this is ZigZagZog coming to you from somewhere in this world, and I'm doing something new today, and something hopefully I will be able to continue doing with the Terror from the Void mod in the future. And every time there's an update, I'm planning to do a little blurb like this, a little short video to review the changes so everybody's aware, just in case you aren't active in the Discord for Terror from the Void. I figure, why don't I just share the changes right here and review them so we're all aware together what's changing. So as you're watching my playthrough, you'll have an idea of what's going on and why these things are different, etc., etc. So let me just read the opening paragraph from Voland, the lead programmer for the mod, and this is it. Another large update that, in addition to the usual bug fixes, attempts to cut some vanilla meta for getting rich fast, completely revamping the capture mechanics, limiting raids, and removing trading for profit, among other stuff. All these changes are opt-out, and based on your feedback, we will be seeing if they remain opt-out or become opt-in, or just associated with certain specific difficulties. However, for now, we would really like to hear about how it impacts your gameplay, how clear are the new mechanics, and how much you have, or how much you hate having less resources, etc., etc. Okay, so the first one here is no profit from trading, and that's where trade is always going to be 1 tech for 5 food or 5 materials. So no profit can be made from trading. It's basically going to be 1 for 5 and it consistently set across all the different resources that you're able to trade. And that is going to prevent people from, just having their special ship with a guy in the ship running from haven to haven to haven and making money for doing nothing, just trading the right stuff with the right faction to maximize your profit. Gone are those days, unless of course you don't check it and you want to do that tedious game breaking kind of thing. But right now they're looking for feedback on what you think about all these, so give them all a try. There's also going to be a limit to how many Pandorans you can capture per mission. The number of Pandorans that can be captured is limited by aircraft type, and capturing a Scylla requires a special module that also increases the number of Pandorans that can be captured. So that's kind of more realistic. I know I've always had people wondering, how do they get that Scylla back to containment? With that Helios. How do they do that? Well, use your imagination. And we always kind of had to make up something in our head to make it possible. Well, they're coming up with more realistic limitations now on how that's being done, something that kind of makes sense. There's going to be limits on rendering Pandorans for food or mutagens. The current system in the base Phoenix Point is, you capture as many as you want. Once again, there were no limits before. Capture as many as you want and you kill them off for mutagens or food, and you'll never have to worry about food or mutagens again. I've never hired a mutoid and not be able to max out their skills right away because I always was swimming in mutagens. Same thing with food. I never have ever had to consider building a food facility structure, and they're trying to get it so some of these buildings that are out there to build, you might have more of a reason to build them because there's going to be certain mechanics that make obtaining food or mutagens from captured Pandorans just a little bit more difficult. Maybe you won't be swimming in mutagens all the time. Maybe that first mutoid you bring out there won't able to be right off the bat be maxed out. Maybe it's going to take a little extra time to make that happen. So there's a cool change. In fact, I guess you could say they're fixing some of the realism part of the game that just you had to stretch your thinking just a little bit in order to play the game. They're also going to be limiting raiding. There are those that were able to take advantage of raiding the havens because there really wasn't much of a penalty other than the difficulty in the raid itself. So now, after a raid, all faction havens are immediately set to the highest alert and may not be rated in the next 7 days. So it's going to cost you trade benefits. It's going to cost you lots of different things if you're consistently raiding, and it's going to be limited to how frequently you can do it because of the highest alert setting that's going to be taking place. Now, no items drops from reinforcements. This is taking care of an issue. And, you know, you may not have seen me do all these things, but guess what? It's happening out there. You can see in comments, reading forums, this and that these things are going on. It's pretty common knowledge. And one other thing is kind of stay on the map as reinforcements come in, kill them, and have them drop extra weapons, and then pocket them all and then sell them all. So, yes, there's people that play that way, that it's not boring to do that, just so they can get extra resources. Enemy reinforcements do not drop items on death anymore. So there you go. There's probably the biggest changes to actual gameplay that'll be taking place, and we will have all these on in our current season that we're playing, Season 5.1. So if you want to see them in action, join in on the season playthrough if you haven't already. And as they start happening and we see those changes, we'll make sure to point them out. Now, there's a few other changes. I'll just kind of go over this list real quick. And operatives can now access vehicle inventory while inside the vehicle. That was an update that was not allowing that to happen, because there's now the first vehicle update that's taken place is there's no longer infinite storage capacity on vehicles. And making that change apparently made it a little difficult for operatives inside, or to access the vehicle inventory when they were inside the vehicle. So that's been fixed and changed. Aircraft speed buff from the cruise control passenger module has been increased to 250 from 100. So that's a great change, along with the next one, because I never used that module because it was too expensive for what it gave you. Now we're going to have to think about this, now that they significantly have improved the buffs that you get with these modules. So aircraft range buff from the extended fuel tanks on the passenger model is increased to 2,500, up from 500. So these are modules that could start making sense. The Venom torso will provide handgun proficiency to the actor, and it's basically the handgun proficiency is applied to the torso. And that's a nice pickup for the Venom torso, because a lot of times that's been skipped over, but this will help make it a little more appealing. And finally, the spike weapon is treated as a handgun now, so skills that need a proficient weapon will work with it. And also on base defenses, Umbra ghosting and base defense will scale with delirium now of operatives. So the higher delirium the operative has, and the more operatives with delirium there are, the higher chance that an Umbra will spawn when the Umbra reinforcement is taking place and not countered by the terminals on the new base defense. So there's the main updates, and then I'm going to list the bug fixes. Rather than go over those one by one, I'll list those in a pinned comment down below. And there's only one of the bug fixes that I'm going to show you right now. All right, and the last change I'm going to talk about is and if you've been watching my playthrough, you may see it right here. These three buttons are no longer overlapping. There used to be a problem that these three screens that were able to toggle the helmet on and off, or unequip all items currently equipped, or saving a certain loadout for an operative, they used to be overlapping, and that only happened on certain display resolutions, which we happen to be using one of them. And that's our 4K resolution that we have. And that's been fixed. Simple, easy peasy. So letting the folks at the Terror from the Void Discord know about these problems as you're playing are really important. They're really responsive. And they work really hard to get these things fixed whenever we're able to share a bug with them. I know a lot of you that are subscribed to the channel, I've seen your names in there. I've seen you reporting bugs, and I just want to applaud that effort and your help in supporting the mod and help them make it as good as it can be. If you have any other questions on the changes, if I wasn't as clear as you think I could have been, please ask a question down below. We'll try to explain it, because I don't want any confusion out there as much as possible. And if I have a question I can't answer, well, guess where I'm going? I'll go to the Discord to get the question answered for you. So hope you enjoyed this video and the update was helpful to you all. This is ZigZagZog signing off from somewhere in this world. Thanks so much for watching, and I do hope to see you next time.